Hi guys, welcome back to the Drawn by Annie channel. It's always nice to see you back again. If you are new here, my name is Annie and I welcome you to my drawing channel. Grab a cup of coffee or tea, grab some snacks, and let's dive in today's video. Today I will be drawing some close-up eyes of my own character because sometimes I get over fixated on zoomed in stuff. I like to draw something very much detailed, so sometimes I just go ahead and draw a very big eye or a close facial drawing to feature all the details that I can think of. For example, I am detailing out the pupils. I am adding a lot of highlights and stuff like that. I start here with a little sketch, pencil sketch like always. Then I'm rounding up the exact position of the eyes and proceeding with some details for the eyes like pupils, highlights, some lashes and nose, and I'm going around to try to make it perfect. And I'm doing some extra details on the nose and under the eyes. And then I'm making a little bit of this facial silhouette where the face is ending. Even though later I'm going to erase it, I need it first for kind of figuring out the proportions or to see better if the eyes are actually doing good or like if they are in the correct position. So after I'm done and I'm happy with the eyes, I start to sketch out nose, lips, and some hairs because she has nice and fluffy bangs. And then after that, I add some details that are related to the character herself. So this is my original character. She is a spirit of sun warmth. I know that might sound a little bit weird, but I like the kami idea of Japanese Shintoism. So I like to create characters based on random nature something, like for example sun warmth. It could be like spirit of a crystal or spirit of a tree. So here I just decided to create a character that would represent warmth of the sun, and that kind of works like a spirit of, like a kami of that. That's why I decided to make some fiery flames around her face. So later on, I'm going ahead with my fine liners. I decided to go with colored fine liners for this one. Most of the time I'm just using black ones, but here I wanted it to be colorful because I want to experiment to see if it will look better, and I can always go back and remake like a complete new sketch. I have some tools for that, so I can kind of trace my own drawing over that and go on with the black liner. But here I was pretty happy with the results, so I did not have to do that. So I'm just lining out the flames first to see where I would fill other colors, just to use this as a guideline kind of, because this is in the front layer. For those who know how digital art works, there are front layers and then second layers and third and so on. So for traditional drawing, you are drawing everything on a one layer, right? So, but to help me later on with the coloring, I am outlining the front first and then kind of keeping this in mind when I'm going with my colors later. I don't know why, but it helps me, even though I'm outlining everything first before filling in colors. It kind of still helps me later on. So after I've done lining out the flames and hairs, I proceed with my lashes and eyes. I go with black for the eyelashes and pupils, so it will pop out from the color. Black liners seem to help stuff really pop out of background or like the rest of the colors. So here I just wanted the eyes to be the main focus, so I decided to line out everything in black. And when I'm done with that, I am erasing the pencil sketch underneath it, so it will look cleaner and it will not be visible from under the markers, because when I am coloring with my alcohol-based markers, they're kind of semi-transparent. So if I leave this pencil sketch underneath, it will make the drawing look a little more dirtier, especially with my pencils that I use. They are medium hardness, so they are likely to leave like this ugly trace, so I don't want to do that. For those who are drawing out there, like my artist colleagues, I am wondering which is your favorite traditional media, because for me, I've been drawing with my colored pencils for a very long time before I discovered alcohol-based markers. I tried to use old markers like, like these cheaper children version markers, and they looked horrible. So I abandoned markers idea for a long time, but after I could afford some alcohol-based markers, I instantly fell in love with them, and like I wanted to collect all the colors because they were looking so good. Most of even the first drawings that I started out with my markers, they were looking like they would be printed, not colored. And a lot of people asked me like, is this printed? And I was very proud to tell that it was my coloring, because yeah, it looks very cool. So I'm wondering, what is your favorite traditional media? Is it pencils? Is it markers? Is it liners? Please let me know in the comments, because I am very curious about it. Some people might even like crayons. I haven't drawn with them much, even in childhood. And same goes with painting. I don't know why, but watercolors or gouache. When I was a small kid, I tried them, but it wasn't really my thing, because I could not very much control, especially the watercolors. And gouache looked too much unreal, if that's a thing. But with markers, I can kind of layer them over and over, and it would still look very nice, and it would still appear after each layer. Like the color blending is very satisfying, especially if you work in sectors and very quickly there is no seams whatsoever. Like a bigger sector, yeah, you can see a little bit of unevenness in the coloring, but if it's a small sector and your coloring is very quick, it would look like completely like digital art tool, the field one. So it really feels like I filled it up with this digital art tool, not with the marker. And I'm very satisfied how the markers work. For this drawing particularly, I used a paper that's supposed to be used with watercolors, and it has this nice texture. So you can barely see it here, but it has these squares, and I like how it looks together with markers, because we love traditional art, not because it looks like digital most of the time, but because of the textures of the papers and the pencils and how they play together, and this feeling of coziness, especially during the process itself. It is very relaxing, all these scratchy noises. I wonder if you feel the same. I love feeling all of these sectors and see how color is changing a little bit. You see the sectors that I just colored, they were a bit darker than the actual color, because it dries out and it looks lighter. And I recommend for everyone who is using markers to use swatch on the same paper, or at least same colored paper, so your coloring would be more precise, because sometimes those marker caps are not showcasing the real color, like, at all. So anyway, here I am going with my yellow markers and filling up the eyes. And then I'm going with a black marker to fill up the sketch of the lashes. So I'm filling up the lashes here. Oh, sorry, it's not a black one. It's a very, very dark brown one. It looks black here, but in reality, it's actually like this brown black, if that's a thing. And I see this is a little bit asymmetrical, but her face is not looking straight either. So that's why her eyes don't look too much symmetrical. So here I'm going with my liner again over the lashes, because marker nib is too thick and I cannot do these small details, so I need a help of a fine liner here. I like to do these tiny little lashes, and they give this nice realistic feeling to the eyes, especially when drawing something zoomed in like this. If you are drawing like me traditionally, often or not, do you usually put liner before or after your coloring? Because sometimes it seems to work better if I put my line after the coloring, and sometimes I cannot help it but line everything before coloring. I guess for me it depends on the color scheme that I'm planning to use, because if I'm lining out everything before coloring, that means I'm probably using something darker, or I'm very confident in my liners that they are not bleeding after I put all of them onto my drawing. You see how the eyes are popping out here? Like they're very contrast to the rest of the drawing. So I decided to give a little bit of lining, already existing one, to give it some volume, especially in between those little hairs. in the spots where they are connecting, I'm making a thicker line because this gives much more volume, because it's acting like a little shade, if that's correct to say. So I'm detailing out some hairs behind the flames as well, trying to make it look more realistic. I'm going back to my eyes and then again back to the hair. I kind of draw like a chaotic because sometimes when I am overly committed to the drawing, I will be detailing out a single thing for hours, and then the other time I would go back and forth from here to this. I try to finish the hair and then I see something needs to be done on my eye, and then again the hair, and then again eye, and I just keep going here and there. That's how I am most of the time, actually. Not even only drawing. I'm doing this all the time, even with my home chores. So after I finished some of the main coloring with the markers, I decided to give a little bit more texture with my pencils. Coloring pencils give this nice, warm, cozy feeling. I don't know why, but whenever I add some of the coloring from the pencil to my marker drawing, they instantly look more alive. Like here, for example, I'm doing this to the shadow of the eye, that it's not even supposed to be red, but since the whole drawing is like this red orangish, I think the shadows must be somewhat close to the actual hue of the skin, or like hair, or the flames themselves. But after I'm done with some red shadowing, I'm doing over with my orange to give it a little bit more saturated look. And then I'm going over with my violet, because when I am coloring the light skin characters, I like to put a violet or bluish color to their shadowing. I like to put violet color to the shadows because of the skin. Like, that's how skin works. You cannot color it with only one color. It will look very flat and not alive. For the skin especially, you have to use like multiple different colors. I don't know which exact colors. That I kind of use my intuition for that. I cannot really tell because I have never studied in an art school, so I just use whatever intuition and whatever art experience that I have. I'm learning from other artists, so if I see them using these exact colors, I try to implement this in my own drawing and then see if it works. And this here is my final result. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and let me know in the comments what do you think. If you'd like to see more of, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Also, I would love to hear your ideas. What would you like me to draw next? Bye bye, art fam. See you in the next video.